Good evening, everyone. How are we doing? First and foremost, before we get underway, I want to apologize for the crudity of the thumbnail, not for the thing that JX has just sent in the private chat, although that is pretty crude. I'm working off a laptop today. I'm still without a computer. I'm still having technology problems. Even with this laptop, I have technology problems. I just want to say a big thank you to you, JX, for last week for hosting the stream on your channel. The show must go on, and indeed it did. And we managed to get episode 7 out. But hopefully, fingers crossed, we've had some lag between us. My connection is saying 1 bar of connection, even though it should hopefully be quick. We're going to get through it because today is the finale. Finally, 8 episodes in, we've hit season 3 finale of The Mandalorian, and we're here to talk about it. We've been here pretty much every single week. I think you've done 7 of the 8, I want to say. I think I did the first one.
Yeah, I like lost my voice for one of them.
That was it. But yeah, we're here to talk about episode 8 of season 3. It's called The Return. I think it's chapter 24, but who really gives shit about the chapters at this point? Passing over to you. How are you doing this evening? And I guess we can go into sort of general opinions on the episode if you want to kick us off. Thoughts before going in, and then I guess thoughts after.
Okay, well, going in, I honestly, problem is I watch you. You're 5 hours behind me or ahead of me.
Yeah.
So but we watch these at about the same time.
Really? Well, you must watch these at like 6 a.m.
Yeah, no, I watch them as like when I wake up after I've walked my dog.
Oh, wow, okay.
Like I'll be watching the episode and I'll get a text from you. I just watched the episode.
Yeah.
So I don't have many thoughts going into these. As you can imagine.
Well, I mean, I guess this was more of a deal this week because it's the season finale, right? This is where speculation and theories and hopefully the culmination of everything you've seen before comes to a head.
Can I jump to my what I thought coming out of this episode?
Why are you holding a knife, by the way?
It's Beskar.
Huh. Okay. Sure. Anyway, yeah, jump wherever you want. We do have a vague plan, but yeah.
Why didn't he say it?
Why didn't he say what?
Like they keep initiating.
Yeah.
They keep initiating Grogu. They keep saying, and they keep saying this is the way. They're like, I'd like to bring Grogu in. This is the way. This is the way. This is the way. Welcome, Din
everybody.
Grogu. This is the way. This is the way.
Yeah, I thought they were gearing up for that, and I was actually because I've taken notes as I always do. Say that again. Sorry.
All season, they've been like hinting, they've been talking about how he can't talk, and I'm like, oh, he's gonna talk at the end of the season. Why did they talk about this, Chris? Where's my goddamn electric car, Bruce?
I had my phone ready to go, and I type, "Wow, this is pretty true." Happened, and then I put my phone back down. I was ready to go. Type in that your prediction was correct. Yeah. In fact, there's a lot of threads that, looking back at season 3, and not even just season 3, but all the seasons as a whole, they don't come to a head. There is no explanation. There is no finale. There's no payoff. There's nothing. This is the safest, most by-the-numbers season finale I think I've seen from The Mandalorian so far. It is just a whole bunch of pew, 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 shoot, shoot, shoot for pretty much 30 minutes. When you told me the runtime for this episode, I feared the worst because I thought, well, there's going to be a big shooty shoot punch 'em up. And when you said that it's only about 35 minutes long, I thought, well, that's going to occupy about 20 minutes, 25 minutes of the episode. And I would have been pretty accurate. Looking back at season 3 now, even some of my favorite bits from season 3, which are very few and far between, really don't get any payoff and feel like we're just treading water. What astounds me, and this isn't just akin to season 3 of The Mandalorian, every season's pretty much done this, but I think season 3's been the worst offender. What was the story we were trying to tell this series? And also, based on how much runtime you've had, how much runtime has been squandered, how much I don't know these characters, how there is no character for most of these characters, how villains that have been set up. You think of any other TV show that's been going on for this long, the amount of screen time. We don't know any of the characters in this show. We get like a bunch of random, non-connected episodic episodes with maybe 5 minutes of plot at the end. You have characters like Moff Gideon who disappear for an entire series and then just show up in like the final 2 episodes, which just like pumps the brakes on everything. Huh?
He does that every season.
No, that's what I mean. As I say, this is a fault against all of the Mandalorian series, but I think this one was the worst offender for it because ultimately this just led to nothing. It's really frustrating storytelling. This isn't a well-written show. This isn't a well-structured show. You think of how much screen time we have had in total across all 24 episodes of The Mandalorian and how much they've just squandered on pointless shit. This isn't built up. You look at Andor. Within that story arc when they were trapped in that prison, there was way more character within that ensemble cast within 2 or 3 episodes of Andor, a side character that no one gives a shit about, than almost 3 seasons of The Mandalorian.
I thought we were just
looking at Andor and night and day. Andor was so well written. Granted, I thought it was a little bit dull. I don't know if I'd ever rush back immediately and watch Andor, but I could at least acknowledge the quality of writing, the quality of direction, and there was actual character there, and it felt like it was building the lore in a really interesting way. It felt well acted, well written. It didn't feel like Star Wars, and I guess by it not feeling like Star Wars, the best Star Wars thing we've had since Disney's acquired the right next to maybe Rogue One. I'm kind of going all off over the place here, but I guess what I'm saying is that all of the problems I've had with Mandalorian in the past, I guess, just came to a head for me with this one, because this was so no one felt at peril for me in this whole episode. I saw people saying crazy shit like, oh, this is the episode where Mando dies. Mando's going to die and pass to Bo, or I'm seeing people say that, oh, they thought that Grogu was for the chop this episode. I was like, they're never going to do that. Disney never take chances. And case in point with this episode, it's the safest, most boring, dull thing. And people are saying this episode's great. And I guess, yeah, like something actually happened plot-wise, which is nice. There's no Jack Black this episode. There's no Lizzo this episode.
It's one of the 3 best episodes, I would say, this season.
But which isn't saying much because all of them have been pretty this series, in all honesty.
Yeah, it's just the previous episode and the Jack Black episode.
This episode felt like it hit the factory reset again, and it doesn't feel like the story's moving. It doesn't. We've moved anywhere for a whole series. We got to Mandalore, great. You kind of achieved that at the end of episode 2. It's just, I mean, all these other Mandalorian characters, I don't give a fuck about these characters. I don't know these characters. We haven't spent any time with them. We could have had actual character scenes. Moff Gideon, what was his plan? Well, it seems like it's all pretty much blown up straight away, and Gideon doesn't really get a character, and we don't really get much of him this series that's all that interesting. Mando himself doesn't really do much. His relationship with Grogu is just a day-to-night and hasn't really gone anywhere. Yeah, a really frustrating series and just kind of a really whimper of a season finale. I guess that's sort of like my overall opinion on it. Of course, we'll go through it. We do have a comment. If I can actually bring it up. Sorry, I am working off a laptop and it is just not quite. Reason cam up so high. I am on a laptop, my dude, and unfortunately I can't get the exact same camera angle and height and everything you've seen before. I can bring it down a little bit, and I drop the microphone, and you're gonna get that. You're gonna cut off my very attractive forehead. So we go higher. There we go. Okay, I'm gonna take a pause because that felt like therapy. I feel better now. I feel better after that. Well, actually, there's one thing. We both hoped that we would get an explanation this episode, and unfortunately we didn't. There is no good explanation as to why Din Djarin wasn't killed at the end of last episode.
Yeah.
I was really hoping we'd get something, or like a scene.
I thought he was going to get like mind flared.
Yeah, I think you predicted that. I thought there was going to be some big revelation or something with him and Moff Gideon. And I guess it was just a
programmed the battle droids that killed his family.
Yeah, dude, that would have been something. Anything that connects this shit. I guess in hindsight, then all we get is
2 episodes ago. So,
I mean, they killed Par Vizsla. They're killing all the other. They're killing all these Mandos pretty indiscriminately. So it's not like they need any of them alive, slave labor or to their cause. They're just these guys out. They want to kill all of them. And they've got the main ringleader right there, Din Djarin, or at least he was before season 3. And the guy that Moff Gideon fought hand to hand, he's right there. You got him. You got it. You got him roped up. He ain't going anywhere. You can kill him. And I guess now in hindsight, because we get no explanation for that, it's just another before I kill you, Mr. Bond scene, I suppose.
Yeah. Also, I thought it was my connection again. It's your connection.
People sound off in the comments. Am I? Is it bad on the live stream?
It's bad on the live stream.
Yeah, I was going to say people sound off in the comments. If I'm lagging or if this is awful, then just let me know. I don't really think there's else I can do. I'm connected to Ethernet. I'm right next to my modem. We should be good, unless the internet's just having an off day today, which is just really frustrating. But yeah, not much else I can do about that, I'm afraid. Sorry, guys.
I like the reference to the back to spray when Grogu saved Din.
Oh yeah, I wondered what that was. I couldn't place it. I couldn't remember that. So
yeah, it was from the face reveal.
Oh, was it? Oh, okay. I thought it was.
I am not a living being.
I don't know. I thought it was down. Yeah, because he got set on fire right before. So so we kickstart the episode, and Bo and Co are escaping stormtroopers, and they're flying around on their little jetpacks, and it's fine. It's whatever. And then Din escaped capture. I've done this before. I don't know, because all of a sudden they just seem to not be good at their jobs at the beginning of this episode, and he gets set on fire. And I have a note here that says Din's cape is flameproof. I guess, as far as I know, it's just a regular cape.
Hey, I got it right here. Why doesn't the cape catch fire? Oh yeah, the fire isn't real.
Yeah. And for the longest time, I thought, okay, he's got Beskar armor. Maybe he's got some kind of band style cape that's flameproof. But we see the cape get damaged throughout the episode, and by the end of it, it's kind of shredded at the base a little bit, and it's it's not pristine.
I wasn't even looking.
Yeah, so when he got set on fire with a flamethrower, when Grogu starts spraying him, I thought it was like some kind of coolant spray, because he just got set on fire. But apparently he's okay.
It was the back to spray from season 1.
I also have a note saying Grogu letting IG-11 is still so dumb.
Oh, I love it. I thought that was great. I'm a little disappointed that it's like it's over, but also
have you?
No, I'm disappointed that that's over.
I just thought it was. I don't like the fact that IG-11's back, and we'll have a note on that
guys.
towards the end of this episode. He's actually back now as well, which is crazy. There was a great meme that came out of this, though, which was Grogu Cop, which was amazing. And it was like, it was done in the style of the original poster as well for RoboCop, which I thought was great. Okay, I've got a note on this next thing because R5 has something to do this episode. Now,
Yeah,
I shouldn't be mad. I shouldn't be mad about this because I guess it is in keeping with canon. I hate that he's got thrusters. R5 has thrusters now too. I hate it. I hated it for R2 and I hate it for R5. That ain't a knock against the Mandalorian because I guess if anything, they're being consistent.
Knock against
I just really hate it, and that's directed at George Lucas. Just saying.
So do you think
there have
R1
been plenty of times? Say that again.
Do you think R1 has those jets?
Oh, probably. Probably.
Because we know that R9 has like the detachable probe that R2 does not.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
I hate it because there are so many. It's the same argument I have for R2 across the saga, that there's so many points where he could and should use that ability, and he doesn't. R5 uses a point where he actually flies out of the situation at the very end. He flies upwards, and I guess if you've watched go on, sir.
I like the bit with the mouse droids, but for fuck's sake, can they do anything right?
So what? He brings like a posse. It's like a police squadron of mouse droids.
I don't know what they were hoping to accomplish. I thought he was going to show up with stormtroopers.
What do they do? They don't do anything. It was kind of giving me Revenge of the Sith
with stormtroopers, and then he comes back with more fucking mouse droids. So I'm like,
yeah,
you're okay, R5.
I was kind of getting Revenge of the Sith vibes a little bit, where they're like, hey, R2 shut down the elevator, but R2's caught up with something that's going on at the same time.
Wait, I know exactly what elevator it was, and I was going to ask you, but do you want to save it for trivia night?
We're gonna save it. We're gonna save it because that might crop up in 2 weeks' time.
Then I just want to feel smart.
By the way, guys, stay tuned till the end of the episode. We've got a few people watching now. There'll be announcements for the upcoming Star Wars quiz, which is going to be very exciting. It's going to happen real soon. Tune to the episode. Honestly, we don't have many notes, so this is probably going to be a really short review tonight because we're almost at this point.
Yeah.
I put the other Mandos airdrop down to help Bo, and they all airdrop into. Go on, yeah.
Right before that, we see them all leave the capital ship on jetpacks. And I really hope everyone on the capital ship had a jetpack, because otherwise, sorry, guys.
Just reminded me of, has anyone seen Hot Shots Part 2? It's like, Geronimo, me!
Also, the way Din was talking to R5, God help him if he ever meets Chopper.
Yeah. You know, they're going to have Chopper doing all kinds of ridiculous, crazy shit when it comes to the Ahsoka series, and I'm going to hate it, and you're going to love it. And that's why we do these reviews. You get the best of both worlds, whether you love Star Wars or whether you hate it now. It's fine.
How have I told you about this? You need to watch Rebels, because Chopper just has the most vulgar mouth if you pay attention. It's so great.
So the Ahsoka series is going to be back in
August.
It's gonna debut in August. So we've got a few months, and I guess I was going to end the review with this. We'll of course be back doing reviews on them. I have a few months now. I have never seen Rebels. I know kind of how Rebels ends vaguely, and I know bits of ridiculous shit that happen across the series, but I've never actually sat down and watched it beginning to end. So I'm tempted to do my homework. I was going to not bother and be the layman going straight into Ahsoka, and you're the one who's seen it all, knows it all and everything, but I might actually go through it.
Everything. I've seen it all.
I might go through it just so I'm prepared, I guess, because that's how Star Wars is now. You kind of have to watch everything to connect it. Okay, so they all airdrop out the ship on their jetpacks into vehicles, which seems pointless, but okay.
Yeah.
It's like, just get in the fucking vehicle.
Maybe shields.
Okay, and let me frame the shot right now. So they're above the clouds, and they jump out into ships, and the ships fly down, and we stay above the clouds. There's a pregnant pause. We keep it in shot, and then we have like TIE fighters flying up and TIE bombers that start attacking the ship that's got no one in it. Why was it that they would have crossed paths on the descent? Why aren't the TIE fighters attacking the vehicles? Why wasn't there some crossover combat there?
Sorry, you just cut out. You just cut out, and somebody was talking to me.
Great. Okay. So, okay, got to repeat everything I said now
because they couldn't hear you either.
Oh, this is wonderful. Well, no one sounded off in the comments, so I don't know. As far as I know, it's fine. They airdrop out of the ship.
Yes.
They get into vehicles that fly down.
Yes, and then the TIE fighters fly up at like the exact same time. It's really poorly timed.
Yes. Why isn't there a fight? Why isn't there a dogfight? They're right there.
Because the clouds.
The TIE fighters.
There happened to be none because of the clouds.
They fly past them and attack the empty ship that is now devoid of Mandalorians because they've already just got in the ships that are flying down towards the ground.
Because the timing was fucking perfect that they went into the clouds at the same time. And
it's terrible. It's actually.
Yeah, I mean, I appreciate it. I like it when shit like is perfectly timed like that. And shit.
It's not perfectly timed. It's poorly written. You can't tell me that anyone who edited that or screened that episode or watched through it didn't bring that up, because it's ridiculous. They're right there. Anyway.
Hey kid, it ain't that kind of movie.
It certainly ain't fucking Star Wars, I know that. Anyway, we get to Mando's video game moment. Where he has to battle through 8 boss levels to get to the end.
Yeah, he does, doesn't he?
He has a John Wick moment. There's a bunch of barrier shields, and this is where you've got. I think we jumped ahead a little bit. I think this is where you've got R5. Yeah, it's where R5 is communicating. He's the mouse droids, and he's disconnecting all the shields, and he doesn't have any weapons. And there's a moment where I think it's in the first block of people that he's fighting. He tries to grab this gun off one of them as his body falls off the platform. And he misses it, and he's like, shit, I was trying to grab the gun, and he didn't get it. Did he forget that he's got a rope on his forearm? He could just catch the guy and do like a Mortal Kombat.
The guy?
Get over here and... What?
Oh, wait. You mean the stormtrooper doesn't realize he has a rope? Does the stormtrooper have a rope?
Listen up. Okay. Dick's trying to get a weapon, right? He's fighting this guy, this Imperial in Beskar, and he's trying to get his weapon from him so that he can arm himself to fight the next few guys. He punches this guy or shoves this guy, whatever. This guy's falling off the platform. Din tries to grab his blaster, but doesn't grab him in time, and he's like, fuck, I still don't have a weapon. Din
Wait, so are you suggesting he should have used the coil to get the blaster out of midair? Because that's very unlikely.
No, to pull the guy back. The guy's falling. Use the fucking rope, pull him back,
he wants
grab the blaster.
Guy to fall.
He wants the weapon. He doesn't want him to fall in that moment. He wants to get the blaster and then let him fall. He
wants him to fall, and he wants the blaster. He killed 2 birds. He thought he could get the blaster, and the guy would fall to his death.
Dude's a walking Swiss Army knife. You telling me you couldn't rope this guy and just grab the fucking pistol?
The guy's a walking Swiss Army knife. The pistol isn't that important.
It is, because he's trying to grab it so he can fucking arm himself for the next bout of dudes.
But he makes
anyway, it's not important because Din just makes light work of them. Of course he does, and he gets to the end and he's absolutely fucking fine. We've got right now. Let me just bear with me. This.
Oh yeah.
Toby says, I haven't seen any of season 3. Heard episode 7 was good. How did it end? Good or meh?
Man, I think I've got
the just. Well, I guess as low as
good as meh can be.
Yeah, I'd go with that. It's the safest, most baseline shit you could possibly think, and that's it. That's all it is. At this point, oh my god, this mouse! I swear to God. Oh, sorry guys. This isn't. At this point, spoiler on me next to nothing, and he says, "So uncivilized." Yeah, pretty much.
Also, there's pretty a lot much.
Of anyway. He gets through to the end, and he's absolutely fine. Of course, he is.
There's a lot of stabbing this
episode.
Yeah,
there is.
More especially this episode than there was suicide this season in the Bad Batch. Which I don't know why I keep bringing up, but it happened.
I was going to say, you brought that up last week. And
nobody's talking about this. So many people kill themselves in this kids show.
No one's watching the Bad Batch. That's why. No one cares. Despite the fact that I've heard it's actually pretty good.
Student about it. Or guitar student.
Okay.
The one who watches Bad Batch.
Yeah.
Also,
Toby says, brilliant. I would only tune in if they could be. Yeah, they would never do that. Disney would never. They could have, and of course they weren't. They're not going to do it. That's their cash cow. That's the very reason they brought him back into season 3, because there was no narrative point of bringing Grogu back into this series. That decision must have come from a higher up. I swear to God, that must have been in the next. There is no way that in Grogu in season 3. That's just what it feels like to me, and especially getting him back with Mando in Book of Boba Fett as well. That probably felt like a studio note.
Also, I guess summed up how I felt. Oh, okay.
No, go on.
Well, I think this perfectly summed up how I felt.
Whatever you were saying, go.
I'm saying it.
Okay.
Moff Gideon has clones.
I guess Gideon's. Yeah, that's my next note. I guess this is Gideon's master plan. After specifically saying at the beginning of last episode that the clones aren't his thing.
Well, no, he was lying to
I guess he was lying.
Because they were literally like, hey, you were doing your own thing. It's like, cloning is your obsession, Hux, not mine. It's just like, no, fucking liar.
And isn't it great that these clones got to do so much this episode? Gideon's entire master plan for 3 seasons.
Something crossed my mind. Remember the clones last season that looked all fucked up?
Yeah.
What if that had nothing to do with the Force, and it actually was just they've been given blood from an entirely different species?
Well, why would you do that?
Because it's Grogu.
Well, yeah, but it implies that they worked it out.
What with the Gideon clones?
Yeah, well, with the Gideon ones, he's like, they were going to be practically perfect in every way, but you smothered them before they even took their first breath.
He was trying to convince himself.
I don't know. I thought a whole cloning facility full of Gideons was
close to perfection.
We were this close. I thought clone Gideons were so dumb. Yeah. And here's the thing, like I like the concept of trying to clone someone who has the Force, because that's not new to canon. That's been going for a while. I think the Force Unleashed games and Force Unleashed 2 played with that idea. It's possible to clone someone to have a Force sensitive clone that you produce. Of course, you've got Heir to the Empire trilogy that deals with cloning Jedi and Jedi going mad, and Luke being cloned,
going mad.
Palpatine cloning himself in Dark Empire, and you've got all these things. We've got stuff like we've got stuff like Project Necromancer, which me and you both think, well, that's Palpatine, isn't it? Of course it is.
Probably.
I don't think this means the end of the cloning plotline in Mandalorian, but I do think it's really an anticlimactic end for Gideon. But I guess the question is now, no one's ever really gone into wars. He's a very big name. He's a very popular name in the TV realm, especially playing villains. IG-11 melted into lava and self-destructed. And here we are in season 3, and he's back better than ever, baby. Yeah. Darth Maul gets cut in half. Palpatine, you name it. The list is endless with characters that die and come. Yeah, the list is endless when it comes to Star Wars characters that die and come back. Do you think we will see, or do you think they tied his storyline up in a neat little bow?
If we see him again, it's because somehow a clone survived, and he'll have the Force.
Well, that's what I mean. That's what I'm thinking. Because he gets straight up Captain Phasma'd in this episode.
He did. Also,
and there's a fight that's very similar to Finn and Captain Phasma's fight as well from TLJ.
Wasn't it said that the Darksaber is made of Beskar?
Yeah,
that was
and it was indestructible, which is why. Yeah.
Okay, because here's the thing. I don't necessarily have a problem with Gideon doing that, but we needed to see that his gauntlets could crush things before. Like, he needed to grab a metal cup, he needed to put his gauntlet on, grab a metal cup, crush it, and go groovy.
Or see, you went Evil Dead. I was gonna go Batman and Robin first, Gotham, and then the world, and he smashes the snow globe in his hand.
I mean, yeah, but yeah. Or I mean, I was also in Dark Knight Rises when he just kicks he puts the thing on his leg and then he kicks the fucking cement wall somehow.
With the clones as well, and I know we had this argument last time, and I don't want to turn this into a TLJ debate. So the clone story had no importance. According to TLJ, anyone has the potential to learn the Force. It's not about blood. And
no, it's not so much
the whole cloning thing is I know, I brought it up again, but apparently now we need blood of a Jedi to make someone who's Force sensitive, despite the fact TLJ, the whole point of that is that really anyone has the potential to have the Force, use the Force, develop the Force. So just putting someone's blood of a Jedi into someone doesn't really make them automatically going to have the Force.
Everybody has midichlorians. It's just about more of them.
Case in point, Palpatine's son. Yeah. Palpatine's son.
Well,
he didn't have it. I guess it's.
I have no idea what happened there.
Yeah, and I guess it skips generations. But, it's unpredictable. Okay.
But with the midichlorians reside within all living things. The more midichlorians you so anybody can connect with the Force. If we see even in Bad Batch, we see the clone Omega. She doesn't use the Force, but she'll meditate and do techniques taught to her by a Jedi. Because the Force resides within everything and everyone. But if you have more midichlorians, it's a lot easier for you. It's like using the Force is like opening a door. And the more midichlorians you have, the less heavy the door.
Okay, sure. And as I say, I'm not going to get up in arms about this because I know that old canon's done this all the time. It's nothing new. What I was irritated by was the fact that we've had 3 seasons of build-up and mysticism and who is Gideon and what does he want.
And then they
finally have somewhat of a plan. Yes, we get a whole. I mean, I think a whole full of clones of Gideon is dumb, looked dumb. And when they do that like jump scare moment, which was so fucking telegraphed because it's done in everything, where it like zooms in on the tank and then just, you know, like opens the eyes. And then all of them just explode and all of them are dead. Again, I thought have some kind of dark troop, not dark troop. Were they called dark troopers? What were the Rock and Sock robots called?
The Dark Troopers.
Yeah.
No, because remember what he said last episode about the Dark Trooper, the next phase of Dark Trooper armor made of Beskar armor and vastly improved because it's gotten me in it. That could have meant so much more.
Yeah. Yeah. I even thought that we might get because I think a lot of other seasons of Mando, actually I don't think season 2 did, but I know that season 1 did. Post-credit scene, a mid-credit scene, anything. Thought we were going to get something related to the clones. Thought you were going to get one. I thought they were going to double down on the jump scare again. I thought it was going to like open its eye and it was still alive. Nothing. Could they still do that? I guess they could. I guess they're kind of edging their bets a little bit whether they bring him back for season 4. But at this point,
the IG body.
At this point, he's been beaten or just buggered off 3 times, and he doesn't have any kind of intimidation factor with me anymore. His plan just is kind of terrible, and there's not really much motivation there for it. But I do think the whole cloning thing, I do think this is going to be a precursor, and it will still all road lead to the sequel trilogy. I do think it is going to lead to the whole Palpatine thing, either next series or probably the movie that's coming out. If it comes out, the one that's been announced.
Can you hide our images, please, so we can see the background?
Yes, I can. Give me, if I remove, I don't know if that's going to completely.
Hello.
Let me try. Right. Yeah, it means that you can't be heard, but there we go.
Okay. Look, the background. This right here. Grogu is more powerful than Plo Koon. If Plo Koon could do that,
Plo Koon got surprise attacked. Plo Koon got surprise attacked, okay?
Fair enough.
But Grogu saw the wall of fire coming towards him.
Okay. All right.
I'm just going to bring up Toby's comments real quick before we move on. We're getting towards the end of the episode. Toby says, if they had taken a full season to build up Mando, like they should have made the premise of the first episode the premise of the entire series, allow him to be a badass. Yeah, I remember when we got to episode 2, I was surprised we got to Mandalore that quick and got him in the sacred waters. I thought that was going to be our finale. Toby says it would have created a much stronger foundation for the show and allowed for a greater scope in the kind of stories they could have had. Let's see. Only time I really liked Mando was episode 7 from season 2, the Bill Burr one.
Yep.
I hated the fact. Okay, see, that's a celebrity cameo that's done right because he was an actual character, and I actually really liked his character in series 2. That I remember distinctly. Isn't one of the Imperial guards there? Didn't he like kill his family or? Oh, okay. Oh, phone call is happening. Anyway, I remember something with,
I said I'm live.
Bill Burr.
I can't talk.
Okay. I remember something with Bill Burr in series 2, how he had this vendetta against a particular Imperial general, and I can't remember if that general killed his people or killed. But it was actual real thing from Bill, and I really liked his. Thought he was well. Had any of like Carl Webb hasn't really done much this series. Gina Carano obviously got shit canned, which is bullshit, but she's out of the series. We still have a whole bunch of side characters who we never really went back to.
Don't. Yeah, no. Most of what you said did not go through.
What, in general, or what?
Like what you just said about the character, about the actors and stuff, did not go through.
I was just saying we haven't really had many of the supporting cast that we usually do.
No, you're right.
Carl
They're just kind
Weathers
of
hasn't really done much.
Yeah,
Carl
he gave
Weathers hasn't really done much this series. Gina Carano got shit canned, so she's not even in it. Bill Burr doesn't come back. There's a lot of characters that we just don't see. I don't always need to see these characters come back, but it was not, it'd be nice to have a bit of connective tissue, I suppose. Toby says, what do you think of the idea that the midichlorians were the Jedi's version of eugenic science? Like they had a flawed method that has come about because of corruption and power.
I haven't seen anything that's really that flawed about the midichlorians. Like,
yeah,
it
I mean, I guess. Well, this James Mangold film that's coming out about the dawn of the Jedi or the history of the Jedi, I don't think we're going to get much talk of the midichlorians in that. I think midichlorians is still a very taboo word for some people in Star Wars, and they don't like that, and they're just going to want to go with the whole thing that it's a magical power. So I don't think we'll get much talk on midichlorians, to be honest. I don't know. I don't really have an opinion on that.
Occasional reference to M counts.
Yeah. I guess it's just natural talent. The force I've always seen is like natural talent or just something that you are more predisposed to, and I believe that in life. I believe that people are called to like
connection to the force. That's what they're there for. Some people have it, some people don't, and it's because of the midichlorians.
Yeah, it's I believe that
that concept has existed since the early drafts of A New Hope.
I believe it's like any skill. I think that, even in real life, like some people are more predisposed and pick things up a lot quicker and are more quote unquote naturally gifted at things. But I think that anyone, if they work hard at it, can learn something, but you're just going to have different degrees of it. And I guess people with a higher M count will just, be better at things, I guess.
Yeah.
Right around this time, we have the Praetorian Guards that show up again and square off against Baby Yoda. And I'm sorry, but there is no way that Grogu survives against 3 Praetorian Guards in that hunk of junk armor. But Disney won't have the balls to kill him. And I was correct. There was a part where they could have done. The music's getting emotional. Din's trying to get towards Grogu, and he keeps getting pulled back, and he's desperate to try and get to him. Grogu gets cornered off in a room by himself with 3 Praetorian Guards that are all coming after him to try and murder him. And they go for the arms. They just stab in the middle, stab the fleshy thing that's controlling it, but they swipe off at the metal arms that are pointless. Is this rickety 3PO thing that's waddling around like a Ray Harryhausen cartoon, stop motion? And they're doing nothing. There's 3 of them. Just stab your spears in the middle and twist and just fucking stab him, and they just don't because they're terrible. The Praetorian Guards are not good in anything that we have seen. They're terrible. How are these elite guards? Where did they come from, by the way? I'm not just talking in general. Like, who are these dudes? I mean, in this episode. No. I don't mean where do they hail from. I mean, where did they appear from in this episode?
What do you mean?
They weren't there, and then all of a sudden they were there.
Wasn't there a door?
Well, yeah, but I mean, what were they fucking playing with themselves? Like, there's an all-out war breaking out. By the way, speaking of that, I do have a note on that. The Mandos have their Rocketeer moment, and they're all flying. And
that's pretty cool.
The fucking blacksmith lady is still wielding hammer and tongs, and she gets a goddamn hero shot in aerial combat with the hammer and tongs, and I hate it so much.
Actually, I got to point something out. I really like that a lot of the combat in this episode was melee combat because they're wearing Beskar. So what's the point of using blasters?
Well, I mean,
except sometimes
Vizsla did in the... Yeah, except when they want to actually kill them and shoot them at other points. Yeah.
Yeah.
So
when they want somebody to die in a firefight, then the blasters work.
Exactly.
Then they're wearing Baby Yoda. Then they're wearing the Beskar armor from the Clone Wars.
Yeah, yeah. Well, it's about as much as Beskar as the Darksaber is, right? It's
I guess
it's selectively Beskar. Yeah. Grogu climbs out of the machine and he starts jumping around like Yoda from the end of Attack of the Clones. And he's doing his little puppet run, which is hilarious, but I really appreciate that they still use a puppet for Grogu. And the Praetorian Guards still can't kill him. The 3 elite Praetorian Guards now can't kill a fucking toddler. Yeah, I'm on it. I'm on it. With this mouse is very, very slow.
I have I have
major
a
lag
thing
happening. I would love more explanation about Mortis. We got an excellent 3-episode arc in Clone Wars. Would make a really interesting movie to explore the religious side to Star Wars. I would like that too. Obviously, with Filoni at the helm, there's a good chance we might get more of that in Ahsoka. We've got like in the trailer, you see the world between worlds or whatever it's called again. So I definitely think it's going to play back into it. My only concern is that if you, because Ahsoka and Mando and Book of Boba Fett are going to culminate apparently in this movie that Filoni's going to direct. I don't know if this is going to be a movie just for Disney Plus or if this is going to be a theatrical movie. How they were talking, it sounds like it'll be theatrical to me. If you start going into Mortis, I feel like you've got to explain a lot of shit to people because not everyone's watched that episode arc on Clone Wars. Not everyone's seen Clone Wars, and it's quite out there. It's quite nebulous and incorporeal and very, very strange. I hated that plot arc when I first watched it, but over the years I've since come around to it a lot more.
I think a 2-minute monologue from Ahsoka could probably cover the bases that you need.
It will need something. It will need something, but
I think I know how we're gonna, if we're going back to that, I think I know how that story's gonna like wrap up.
Yeah. I mean, do you want to give your prediction in this, or do you want to save it for Ahsoka?
I mean, I don't really have. I guess I could save it for Ahsoka in a few months. All I'll say is, if considering that Ahsoka is very blatantly like it when I wrote this, we were pretty sure that Ahsoka was gonna pull from the Thrawn trilogy. Now that we know that's definitely what's happening, I'm almost certain Ezra is going to be a villain, or at least a dark side user who thinks he's a good guy. I think we're going to go back to Mortis. I think essentially the balance is going to need to be restored, but I think it's going to be restored different.
Well, remember Mortis as well was going to be in the Colin Trevorrow script.
It
for
was
episode 9, Duel of the Fates. So there was a plan at least at some point they were talking about. So I mean, there was a plan, a very recent plan. Even in episode 9, we would go back and deal with stuff on Mortis. So they're clearly kicking around that idea still.
Mortis.
Bo comes in and gets a fight with Gideon. And she's like, Mando, go get Grogu. And he's like, I'm gonna do that. And he goes and does that. It's right around this point that Gideon pulls out this electro staff, which looks like one of the things that I either said it looks like the traitor scene from Force Awakens,
a combination of that like
or Captain Phasma, or even like the Magna Guards, the General Grievous Guards.
The Magna Guards. I was going to let you say it, but yeah.
He only pulls out that staff once she squares up against him, and I thought, why wasn't he using this when he was fighting Din? It was a hand-to-hand fist fight with Din. Couldn't he have just pulled this staff out and just ended the fight really quickly?
I think that's something to do with... if I had... I'm going to be using external knowledge, but according to tweets from the actor who plays Moff Gideon... It's an honor thing.
Like keeping Din alive at the end of last episode.
Oh no, I have no idea what that's about. I just know that that I would assume that the fist like matching the weapon like weapon to weapon is like a Mandalorian honor thing.
Right. We get another apes
Oh wait, I
together
don't need to
strong
reference
moment.
his tweets. Remember at the end of the last episode, Mandalore will survive through me.
Yeah. We get another apes together strong moment from Bo-Katan.
Oh yeah, no, I had a different idea, but a different quote in mind, but I couldn't remember what it was. I can't remember what it was now. I didn't end up writing.
I mean,
it.
I know we used that quote a few weeks ago, didn't we? But it was getting a reprise.
Yeah.
Isn't it interesting though how at the end of series 2 we were all guessing that Bo-Katan was going to be a villain for season 3?
Yeah, well, I that kind of went out the window in the Jack Black episode.
I wonder if that was an idea they were throwing around, because she gives a very knowing glance towards Mando at the end of series 2, like she's formulated a plan. Even from her first episode where she's posed up like Thranduil on the throne in her castle, and she just looks really villainous and, you know, contemptible. And then no, she's a good guy, she's fine. She's on the side of the angels. I feel like there was a lot of missed opportunity there. I thought maybe they could have. I think it would have been interesting to see her become a villain, and to see her. We were even batting around the idea that she could be the main antagonist of the season, which I actually think could have been a really interesting angle to take her. But she kind of inadvertently became the main protagonist of the show. So
yeah. I like that when the kid was doing the vow after all the fighting and everything, that taking off the helmet wasn't part of it.
Oh wow, we're jumping to the end. Okay, because I have a note on the kid.
I don't have any notes past Grogu's more powerful than Plo Koon.
Oh, I've got a few more. So we'll catch up in a second. I put, so Gideon just gets blowed up. What was the point of his character? It's really frustrating.
The point of his character was the first 2 seasons.
Yeah. I put Grogu's armor piece didn't come in useful at all. I thought maybe they would have had like a fake out scene of him getting shot or stabbed, and it would be like, I'm fine. I'm not hurt. You should be dead. That spear would have skewered a wild boar.
Skewered a wild Ronta or
a Rupog or whatever he says in the deleted scene in TLJ.
I was thinking not a Reek. No, a Reek.
What are those big fat pig things that Anakin rides in Attack of the Clones called on Boo?
No idea. They look like ticks.
I think there's more to this foundling than meets the eye.
Good save.
Beskar. You're full of surprises, Master Grogu. Anyway, I'm not going to do the whole... I've got a note on that as well. That's strange. Yeah, so again, that's another plot point that was raised, and what was the point of that scene? We never went back to Coruscant. We never saw more of the flashbacks of Grogu escaping Order 66. I thought we were gearing up for more of
that. I love. I saw a theory that I absolutely love, and I wish to God they had actually done it.
What?
Ahmed Best's character. He was saved by Naboo troopers. There's one character. Padme wouldn't be off doing it. I can think of only one other Naboo senator who would have access to a ship like that and soldiers like that. And if they wanted to do a scene with him, it's not like his actor wasn't already in the scene.
Oh, you're saying Jar Jar was the one who sent them?
Yeah.
That I'd be so down for that.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah, fuck yeah.
Like,
but again, it's another scene. It's another scene that was cool, and we don't get a payoff for it. Pretty much looking back now, I mean, I'm going to mention this in the wrap up, so I won't go into it now. But I guess I actually see a lot of people hating this episode, but it's probably my favorite episode of the season was the Coruscant one with Scientist Guy and Captain They. I actually, because it's the only shred of world building we've had on the New Republic in these live action things. We get more world building of the New Republic in like those 20 minutes of that episode than we did in the entire sequel trilogy, which is outstanding to me. That's not a knock on TLJ. That's a knock on all of them.
New Republic, because there's also the Aftermath trilogy.
Well, I said in live action. I did
Oh,
say
okay.
specifically in live action. I don't care about the books. I'm talking about what we see, what we get told. But even that storyline's
I've been
kind of
talking with a
pointless
burn
because
I have all episode. Sorry about that. If you've been noticing, I've been playing with my hand.
Because even her character, the one who mind flayed scientist guy, she
Wasn't in
doesn't.
this.
Yeah,
She's
they were
still there.
building. She cropped up in like the New Republic headquarters and was clearly evil, but didn't really. But she didn't do anything. She didn't corrupt Ahmed Best. Like the whole flashback. At least with Mando, when he was having flashbacks looking at the Forge, it kind of amounted to. It didn't really amount to much, but it was a complete backstory, I suppose, as to how he got into the Creed. But what was the point? We know that he escaped Order 66. Now we know who saved him. But it felt like there was more of that story that needed to be told. And again, we don't get it. So some people are probably going to argue, well, we'll probably get more of that in season 4, and it's not bad to set up future storylines. That's true. But when you derail an episode of The Mandalorian and go in a completely different direction on Coruscant with 2 bit characters, one of which we've seen a season ago, one of who's a brand new character, it's got to have a point within the season that you're telling. Yeah,
even if there's a post-credit scene that's like, hey, we're gonna get more of this person. Fine, give us that.
I thought they would have done something where. So I'll jump into the end of the episode briefly, and then I'll come back to it. Mando asks Asian X-wing pilot guy. He says, "I want to work for the New Republic on a case-by-case basis," and I thought he said, "Yeah, that's cool. Here, you can work alongside this person," and it's Buff Chick from Coruscant, and you're like, "Oh, but she's a villain."
Well, no, because he doesn't trust her though. And also, they've got the red tags.
I don't think anything.
I don't think an Imperial would be allowed to be an ex-Imperial would be allowed to be a bounty hunter.
Just tie it in somehow. Just anything. And so looking back now, my favorite episode, I'm like, well, that was pointless. Grogu getting the breastplate.
Speaking of that scene,
crop up. Huh?
Speaking of that scene, did he know that there was an IG head in the bar?
No, it was conveniently there.
And then he's just like, "That's my payment." So were you
then he just has for free? And then he just has an IG body to go along with it, apparently, as well.
Yeah.
I'm gonna just head back because we're catching up to that bit.
Yes.
I'm talking about the kamikaze scene. So what was it? Axe Wolves or whatever his name was decides
Wolves
to
without the L. It's Wolves.
This ship's crashing, and I'm gonna kamikaze that. Excuse me. I'm gonna kamikaze this shit. Everyone's gonna I'm gonna take out the base. I'm gonna take out all the enemies. Now, I'd probably have to watch this again because I brought this up to you, and you thought that all the Mandos were evacuated before he crashes this thing. I don't remember that happening. As far as I know, they were still all engaged.
I wasn't even looking at the screen. I heard things while I was writing notes.
As far as I'm aware, I think they were still engaged in aerial combat, the good guys and the bad guys. He crashes this ship into the base, just conveniently takes out all the bad guys, leaving all of the good guys. That's not how that works. You can't do that. It felt like the droid factory, the droid control ship. You take that out, you take everything out. It's like the White Walkers at the end of season 8. You kill the ringleader and everyone dies. It's like, I'm going to crash this ship and everyone wearing Mando armor on the side is going to have plot armor and just survive. I could be mistaken, but I think that's how it went down. Take a shot every time.
They might crop up with the Beskar armor in the future. Like, there might be some stormtroopers left.
Yeah. And here's the thing. If we're going with your thing of saying that, no, the call to evacuate was given out and they were pulling their troops out of there, they were still locked in combat. The Imperials would have given chase. They wouldn't have just waited at the base.
Yeah, but it doesn't matter. As long as they get Gideon, this operation dies.
I mean, I guess, but you've still got some like elite Imperial guards that you're fighting that are
You've
probably
got
equal, if not
stormtroopers
more.
in Beskar armor. Let's not throw around words like elite.
Well, I thought you'd have to be elite to wear this. They don't just get like any guy. Like, hey,
I didn't
TK
see any
27.
stormtroopers that weren't in Beskar armor on Mandalore.
Whatever. It just I'd have to watch it again, but I'm not going to because I hated this episode and I don't want to go back to this series. This is the way. I put in caps lock and lowercase and exclamation marks. Take a shot every time they say this is the way. I know you wanted him to say it. I know you did. I know you predicted it, but once again, everything that was set up in this
Why did
series,
they keep saying
it doesn't. It's they constantly keep saying it. Okay, so we cut to Par Vizsla's
Why do
son.
they keep saying he can't talk? Why keep drawing attention to it if he's not going to say it by the end of the season?
I know. I'm with you. I'm with you on this. For once in our lives, I'm with you on something Star Wars rated. I get it. Once again, it's another setup that no payoff.
I know. I guess
that would have been the time to do
like
it.
A small payoff. You like, get him saying
up for it.
The only most of the he can't talk shouldn't have been there. But if you take he's too young to take the creed because he can't talk line when he does the training, fine. Keep that one in there. So then you get to this part. It's like, if he can't talk, then he can't do it. And it's like, okay, great. That's fine. But don't keep drawing attention to it.
And they gear up to it, like just in terms of shot choice and editing, they really focus on Grogu. Like he's about to say it. He's concentrating. It's gonna happen, and it doesn't happen. It's insane to me. It's absolutely insane. No, I'm totally with you on that. Par Vizsla's son is getting baptized in the holy waters of Mandalore. Hopefully, no one slips in the bathtub.
Taking off the helmet isn't part of like. I like that he didn't mention not taking off the helmet.
Hopefully no one slips in the bathtub this time, because that would have been hilarious if the kid just like slipped and just sank to the depths almost instantly.
They were keeping to the shallow side.
Was there any point that this kid needed to be the son of Par Vizsla? Because there's no scene of like, your father loved you, your father gave his life for the creed, will you follow in your father's footsteps? There's nothing.
The only thing that really mattered that he was his son is that meant Par Vizsla would say something later at that meeting.
Yeah, it's absolutely pointless. There was no sense of urgency.
And again, because we're
just...
Mandalorians was reason enough. They didn't need need to save his son.
Yeah, maybe he was just really disappointed in his son. He was like, "Oh, my son got eaten by a pterodactyl." Where are the pterodactyl children, by the way? I don't know. They were foundlings. That's another thing that they set up, and there's no payoff.
What were they going to do with those this episode?
Well, I thought.
Oh my god, they might have been on they're either on Navarro, or they were the capital ship.
They've got to be somewhere. I thought maybe if they age rapidly, or if there's time between episodes, some of the plot-centric characters would have ridden them into battle.
Maybe next time we go to Mandalore, they'll like Bo-Katan will be riding.
Oh, great! Look forward to that. So this is the way. This is the way. This is the way.
Oh,
this is the way.
Can you adopt somebody who's 12 years older than you?
I didn't think of that. You got a point. How does the Yoda aging thing work? I want to know that, because Yoda is 900 when he dies.
I think he's technically 5, but his vocal cords aren't developed yet.
Are we going to get teenage Groot in the next series?
No.
Oh, I don't know. I feel like they need to age
him
up.
Here's the thing. He needs to be mature, like fairly mature in the next 50 years. Because for 8, I can't say it.
Yeah, for a long time, Yoda was training Jedi and died at the ripe old age of 900. So yeah, I mean, he's like mid to late 50s at this point, isn't he? I think he was 50 when he was discovered, and I think this is a couple of years later. So he might be like 52, 53, maybe getting on towards 54.
It's been 2
and he's
years,
still a toddler and he still can't talk. So this is a long growing up period for this race.
He was with Luke for 2 years.
Okay. Yeah, about 52, 53 then. So Din adopts Grogu, and they allow, and he says, okay, from now on you shall be known as Din Grogu. And I was like, wouldn't he be called Grogu Jaren?
No, just I don't. You see, here's the thing. I don't know if Fett is a name. It is actually like a Mandalorian name, and that's the only thing I can think of that I can actually compare this to. No, wait, Sabine Wren. Yeah, I don't know. It should be Grogu Jaren, or his name should have been Jaren Din.
Yeah,
which actually sounds more like a. That sounds more like a Mandalorian name.
Din Grogu just sounds terrible. It's a really bad name. I'm still calling him Baby Yoda. The little phone thing that I have calls him the child, and then we call him Grogu, and now I've got to call him Din Grogu.
I talked about earlier,
huh?
The child that plays into that Mortis thing I mentioned earlier.
Yeah. There's got to be some kind of point. I put take a shot every time they say this is the way. I put why don't the Mandos check out the Mythosaur? If anything, just to prove Bo's story. She showed up one day and was like, I saw a Mythosaur. And she's like, impossible. The Mythosaur has been extinct for a millennium. And she's like, no, I saw one. Which means I can take my helmet off now. Right?
Yes.
Yeah, I guess it does mean that. And then Pa Vizsla could go, well, I just saw a Mythosaur over there like 5 minutes ago. It's disappeared now, but I did see one. Believe me, I saw it. So I'm going to take my helmet off now. If she gets to do it.
Thing. They're Mandalorians.
She's been there for 5 minutes. She's been there for 5 minutes, and she says like, "Oh, I saw a Mythosaur, which means I don't have to wear this helmet now." All of them could do that, and you could have a mutiny. It's like, well, how come she gets to do it, and we've been living this life all this time, and we still got to keep our helmets on?
This is
if the Mythosaur was down again. The Mythosaur, you set the Mythosaur up in episode 2. You do the eye opening shot. You do the Godzilla shot of the eye opening, and you think like,
I was thinking,
okay, it's gonna burst out of the thing. Yeah, instead of kamikaze in the ship, I thought the Mythosaur was gonna come out and be like, the Mandos have returned, and it is prophesied that the Mythosaur will rise, and we will reclaim Mandalore. And
Imperial, I smell
you. Yeah.
Yo, go get me a beer. Please.
Once your puppy finishes.
He brought my dog
some food. So once again, the Mythosaur, a whole load of setup and no payoff at all. We see the Mythosaur again, and we get pretty much the same shot that we did in episode 2, where it just opens its eyes and it's mildly irritated. But Mando is now working for the New Republic on a case-by-case basis. He never did drink that Coruscant whiskey, as far as I'm aware.
Yeah, I don't care. That's like the most minor thing that's been set up that they didn't pay off. Like, why even bring that up at this point?
No, I know, but in the final shot, you could have seen him sitting outside of his white picket fence, his little house on the prairie, taking a sip of that Coruscant whiskey.
That's actually a very good idea. Yeah, I would like even like. Or you could have seen him track that onto a plate. Actually, I was thinking like, what if he just took his helmet off? He was just like, well, this is the way now.
Yeah. Because Pedro Pascal wasn't on set for this whole series.
That's a very good point, actually.
Or even you could have had the whiskey being passed around in the previous episode where they're all kind of getting to know each other as like a peace offering before the whole chess match kicks off.
That would have been pretty
Because
cool.
they're swigging grog, aren't they, or something in that episode? I think they're pirates.
Oh god, it reminds actually what you just described, like him being like Coruscant whiskey. It reminds me of in the Darth Bane book, this guy Bane is before he's Bane is friends with a Nemoidian bartender, and he's like, I thought after the night you'd like something special. It's like Corteeg brandy from Kashyyyk. It's not as strong as the stuff the Wookiees drink. It's smoother, tamer. And he tries it, and he's like, "That's tame." And he's like, "I'd hate to try what the Wookiees drink." It's like, what did you expect? They're Wookiees.
They're like 7 foot tall, or like 8 feet tall, or some shit. Okay, at this point, yeah, he heads to the bar, and Grogu kind of Gugu Gagas and points to an IG-11 head that's kept as a trophy.
An IG head. I have no idea how you classify these.
I actually thought that was IG-88's head for some reason.
Maybe.
I thought this was like a head of a bounty hunter that we've got as a trophy. Because what other revered IG-11 characters do you know?
But again,
and it's a New Republic
they're IG units.
Yeah. But the fact that you're keeping it...
Dummy.
The fact that you're keeping it as a souvenir, it's either like the case of... I don't know if you guys have this in the US, but we get this in a lot of British pubs. You'll go to a pub and they'll just have like a load of shit hung on the wall. Just like points crap. So I don't know if that's the case. It's just like a load of little knickknacks and whatnots that they found and just put it up on a shelf. Or because it's a New Republic bar, these are like renowned bad people that they've got the heads of. And it's like, we're going to proudly display them in here to show everyone that the New Republic means business. And that's IG-88 right up there.
I just remembered something actually, and now I realize I wish there was a character that was that cameoed in this show, like at some point in the past 3 seasons. Because remember how I mentioned the Aftermath books earlier?
Mm-hmm.
The last one came out like a year or 2 before The Mandalorian started, but The Mandalorian was an announced thing, and Empire's End, one of the storyline is one of the main characters is a bounty hunter, and their storyline ends with the formation of the Bounty Hunters Guild, which is a great setup for The Mandalorian. Why wasn't Suki in The Mandalorian? That is all.
Because you touch yourself at night.
Oh wait, no, it's not Suki. Because Suki's in Clone Wars, and that's this person's aunt, who is also a bounty hunter. If you want to know who I'm talking, it's the it's the Zabrak who throws a knife at Darth Maul. Or no, be Darth Maul at the time.
And I've put somehow IG-11 returned again.
It should have been IG-13 still. I know I keep saying it.
So IG-11, let's track the journey of this character. IG-11 sacrifices himself at the end of Series 1, self-destructs and melts into lava. Inexplicably, in Season 3, he's pretty much entirely intact, apart from a few choice parts, but there's not many that aren't intact. He's rebuilt, repurposed, refashioned, and is chopped to pieces by Praetorian guards and left on the same base that the kamikaze Mando pilot crashes into and annihilates the entire base. Mando, Bo, and Grogu get off planet and get back to safety. They find an IG-11 head, which clearly isn't the same head of the IG-11 that we know. And then the next shot, there's a fully rebuilt and like Iron Patriot version of the character who rocks up, who's going to be the new sheriff of the place. And I thought, did they recover the body of IG-11 from the place they were just at, or have they built a new body? He has Taika Waititi's voice, so that tells me that it would be the same head, it would be the same parts, it would be the same processor. So yeah, I'm really confused.
I don't know anything about droid engineering.
They just want to keep Taika Waititi in this series, apparently.
Yes.
And then we get our fine. Oh, I put the R5 just disappears. We don't know what happens to R5. There's no tie up to R5 story at all. He just flies out of there, and that's it.
Of this episode.
And then our final shot is kind of a factory reset button of Grogu and Man together again. Little house on the prairie, white picket fence. It's kind of like the final shot of Infinity War with Thanos sitting on his front porch. And then we get a really cheesy transition wipe to the credits, which I've never seen in stuff.
What was that iris?
It was like I was watching a fucking sitcom.
I felt like Grogu should have winked at the end.
Yeah, it was very, very strange.
With like a ding.
Because I know that Star Wars ends with a quick like implosion and dun, 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 into credits. But this was like a fisheye kind of spotlight. And yeah, you wanted like ding, and then it was weird. It was a weird ending. And that was it, and the mid-credit scene. As far as I'm aware, a fourth series of Mandalorian has been confirmed. And then we know that Dave Filoni is kind of he's endgaming all of the TV universes in a film, apparently. If that ever happens, he's tying up Book of Boba Fett, The Mandalorian, and Ahsoka all in one show, which I'm assuming is still probably going to be Thrawn. I expect they're probably going to keep Thrawn for the movie as well.
Maybe.
That was it. I mean, I've kind of already given my preamble of what I think of Series 3, but just, man, there were a lot of setups this series that just really didn't pay off in any way. It's when you look at the series as a whole,
Chris. The review was fucking long.
Yeah, it was. The negotiations were short. Yeah, there were a lot of setups with no payoffs. This series really didn't time manage itself well at all. For the fact that we've got 8 episodes and so much of it feels like filler and pointlessness. It felt like a little too late at the end. Yeah, we get a lot more Mando action in the final episode. There's a lot of shooty shoot. There's a lot of pew pew. But it felt like it was all very safe. There wasn't many stakes to it. I didn't really understand the character motivation because there wasn't any. And it just felt like a little too late. It's like we should have been doing this the whole season. And no one really has any character. No one really has any motivation. Mando wasn't the main character for more than 3/4 of the show. And yeah, like, what happened? What character arc, what story arc did he go on? Okay, he adopted Grogu. Well, he's always loved Grogu, and he's always been kind of like an adoptive father to him. So I guess it's official now, but it's not really anything new. Grogu didn't speak. He didn't get his first word. That could have been something. You bring Grogu back, and the equilibrium, the status quo is almost exactly the same. No one's really challenged. No one really learns anything. What was this season about? What was the overarching story?
How does know that was a mythosaur? Like, how does she know exactly what a mythosaur looks like? All she knows is like this cartoon version that every Mandalorian has the right to wear.
And it was in like the murky depths as well, and she just sees an eyeball looking at her.
Yeah, this just occurred to me. Why does she know what that looks like?
Yeah. Man, this series was just really bad. From the worst episode in Mandalorian, the worst episode in Mando history with Jack Black, with 3 celebrity cameos in one episode, which just felt really weird. I've heard rumors as well. I don't know how true they are. I know that some channels are just publishing this like it's gospel fact. I don't do that on this channel. I hear things, I mention them, but unless
are you going to talk about how Brie Larson is cast to be the first Jedi in Dawn of the Jedi?
Oh God, is that a thing?
No. I just wanted
Wouldn't surprise me. It wouldn't surprise me at this point. It really wouldn't. No, I've heard there's somewhat of a bit of a civil war going on with. I'm assuming Favreau and the higher ups that he wasn't proud of this. This wasn't the season 3 of Mando that he wanted to make.
Yeah, this is the Iron Man 2 of Mandalorian.
I feel that way very much. I mean, again, I don't want to say that. Yeah, that's fact. There's an internal civil war struggle going on, but he did kill his character off in this series with Par Vizsla, and I get the impression that there was more so than season 1 and 2. This was a series made by committee, based on the based on the end of season 2. Based on the end of season 2, this doesn't feel like the story they were gearing for. Maybe there were elements of it, like the whole reclaiming of Mandalore, definitely, and the rightful owner of the Darksaber and Bo-Katan maybe becoming a villain. It felt like it was moving more in that direction, and we didn't really have a single direction. Grogu training with Luke, that story arc was tied up. He had fulfilled his mission. Could you have parallel storyline and eventually reunited them by the time of the end of season 3? Sure, if you really wanted to get them back together, but at least have some time. And they don't even do that. Again, that felt like a studio decision. Nope, you absolutely have to have Grogu in this series somehow. Make it happen, because you can't let those two go away. And as such, characters don't really go anywhere. There isn't really no character really has an arc in this series, apart from maybe Bo-Katan, you could argue. And she's not a very interesting character. Just from the performance, the way she plays it, everyone just feels like a cardboard cutout in this. If I was going to pick a favorite character, I'd say Dr. Pershing. In all honesty, out of all the characters this season,
Dr. even Pershing, after what you've seen,
yeah, I mean, pointless, absolutely pointless. But if I was just going to objectively say who I think the best character was.
Even after what you've seen.
Oh. I have seen things you people wouldn't believe. The thing is with Dr. Pershing, even his characters
in the know. For those of you in the know, I've shown him that scene from American Gods.
And let me tell you, what a scene. What a scene. I'll never look at Aladdin the same way ever again. What was I going to say? Even Dr. Pershing's character doesn't make any sense because he's like a rock star. He's giving speeches in the middle of auditoriums. He's packing crowds. Everyone turns up to hear him speak, even though all he says in these speeches are, I used to work for the Empire and did horrible, despicable things that I wish I could change. But then when he leaves, no one wants to... Then he just goes back to a day job and no one really cares who he is or doesn't talk to him and doesn't really recognize who he is, yet he sold out a crowd in the theater at Coruscant. It's really strange. It's really strange. But that was,
not unheard
that was the only character. That was the only scenario I kind of liked.
Also,
I like
Toby,
that
I wish you were still here,
the peak of the mountain.
A comic about that movie.
Say that again, sorry?
I said, Toby, I wish you were still here. You seem like you'd be, based off of what he said about the rise of Skywalker, he'd probably be interested in seeing the Duel of the Fates motion comic.
Yeah.
Do you want it?
I think you've sent it me. I've seen it before.
Yeah, I probably sent it to you with Dark Empire.
Yeah.
Fucking wrap up.
Well, I've watched one of those. I've watched one of the two. Yeah, shit. That's it. That's all I got on season 3.
Yeah.
What's actually been really comforting is usually I'll have an opinion on Star Wars, which will be shared with some channels, obviously, on YouTube. But a lot of the Yahoo articles and like the really incredibly far left sites and news sites will defend everything, every single episode, every single choice. Having Lizzo and Jack Black was bold and stunning and brave and all of that stuff. I've even seen news outlets like that be negative on The Mandalorian. I've seen the fan base be a lot more negative. Yeah, there are some fanboys love anything with the name Star Wars attached to it. Of course there is. There's always going to be those people. Brand loyalty, consume next product and then move on to next product and get ready to consume that. But I've seen a lot more people be vocal about this, saying that this shit isn't good enough. I'm a fan of The Mandalorian and this isn't good enough. I've seen more people say that. And that's been comforting to me, that I'm not on my own with this, and that a lot of people have noticed the drop in quality. Viewing figures are down. I haven't seen anyone talking about this series all that much, really. With season 1 and 2, my Facebook was flooded with my personal Facebook. My Facebook was flooded with people with memes, excited for the next episode, talking about it. I haven't seen anyone talk about season 3 of Mando. And I feel like the flame is dead. Was the death toll for this series the many years wait between the two seasons? Season 2, maybe it was, introducing pivotal, conclusive plot points in Book of Boba Fett and not in his own show. Maybe it's just the writing and the story, or maybe it's the fact that it is gearing towards the sequel trilogy now that has turned a lot of people off. I don't know what it is. Could be Star Wars fatigue. It could be all of those things rolled into one. But there's definitely been a drop off, I think, in the fan base.
You take everything you rolled into one. I think it can be summarized in one word. Maybe.
And there it is. Season 4 is going to be very interesting, because I have no hype now going into season 4. None at all. This has kind of fell in with the rest of the Star Wars crowd now for me. Just the sheer apathy towards the brand and Disney Star Wars and what they're doing with it. The only thing that I've kind of enjoyed is Andor. And say enjoyed, I thought it was quite a dull series, but I know that the tone kind of works for it. But I did at least acknowledge the strong directorial choices, the style of it, the writing, the acting was very good. The morally grey characters, and it felt like actual people had written and directed it and had a vision for it. I really hope that season 2 isn't meddled with. But the thing is, like, the people that watched Andor respect Andor and think that, yeah, this is probably the best written content we've had for Star Wars in a long time, but no one fucking watched it. No one watched Andor. So it's not going to change Disney's mind. They're not going to suddenly go, well, actually, more people are responding to Andor, so let's make more stuff like this. Mandalorian is more of the recognizable name, and they're just going to keep doing more shit like this. And we'll be here to talk about it. In a few months' time, we have the rip-roaring and outstanding The Stunners. I'm sure it'll be each and every one of those. And we'll be back talking about it. We'll be gone for a while. We'll be back. If you haven't done so already, and you're discovering this video after the fact, your thoughts on The Mandalorian. Overall, did you enjoy Series 3? Did you hate Series 3? Thoughts about set up for Season 4? If anything's been set up, I'd be very interested to hear people's opinion on this one. Of course, please do consider subscribing to the channel for more movie reviews, discussions, and live streams. There it goes. Wow, there is a lot of lag on today's channel. I do apologize for that. The next movie review will be this weekend at some point. The new Evil Dead movie is out, which I'm very much looking forward to. It'll be good to see another Evil Dead film in the cinema. And yeah, that'll be the next big movie review. And I will also be seeing... Say that again, sorry?
I said I didn't even know that was out. I didn't make that reference earlier on purpose. About the hand. Crushing a
yeah, I forgot about that. I also still need to see Dungeons and Dragons. I haven't forgotten. We'll be doing a Dragons review at some point when I can get myself to the cinema to see that as well. I'm busy. I got a lot of stuff going on during the week. I'm trying to get this fit in, guys. I promise I am. But
also, tomorrow.
Right before I do the socials and everything to finish off Wars announcement.
Tomorrow is Hitler's 134th birthday.
It's not where I was going. Sure, it's good to know your history, I suppose.
Oh, it's also 420 for
happy
those
birthday to Hitler. Star Wars in 2 weeks' time. Well, if I can come by next week, I will be doing a Star Wars quiz. There is currently a vote on my channel. If you go onto the community tab, there is a vote. There's 2 possible ideas for this quiz. It can be a 6-question quiz on trilogy, or and then prequel quizzes and sequel trilogy quizzes follow at some in the or I can do a video, 90 questions across the entire Star Wars saga, 5 from Rogue One and 5 from Solo. Those are the 2 options. The vote is very close. I did mention, and the vote was tied. So I've done another vote, which people can vote
right now,
and it's pretty much tied again. It's what? Sorry,
it's 40-60 right now.
Oh, okay. The vote has shifted somewhat since last time, but the votes are open until the end
exactly one
of the week, so you have before a decision on what's happening with it.
By the way, who voted on that during the stream and didn't watch the stream?
And,
what the fuck?
We will go with the vote.
Wait, no, hang on. Who likes you enough to vote on your thing and didn't watch the stream? Who voted during the stream?
I don't know. I feel like I should be offended, but they also still. I feel offended that they didn't watch the stream, but also I still got viewer participation, so that's great too.
Fair enough.
Anyway, Star Wars quiz, 2 weeks' time on May the 4th. More details will follow. You can find details about that on my YouTube community page, but so my Twitter page. So that's my Twitter handle going across the bottom of the screen right there. Twitter, you can find me at Hobbit Fan Editor. That's at Hobbit Fan Editor, and I will post on there all the videos when you can expect to see shit. Just to round us off, passing over to your socials. Where can people work on? What's crack-a-lackin'?
I'm JXEditor. I fan edit mostly Star Wars, but sometimes other things. We've even talked about recently, potentially something that isn't Star Wars. But by next review, something I've talked about on this, I've teased in these reviews, because it is where it is, and we're close to where it is. I'll just release it on May the 4th. So keep an eye out for that.
Awesome. And go head over there, give them a subscribe. We're constantly talking Star Wars edits, and as you mentioned, we often get sidetracked onto other projects that we've been talking about. Conversations that have led to potentially a really fun retrospective discussion in a couple of months' time, which I'm really looking forward to revisiting. Actually, I will tell you, it's quite a big franchise of films. There are 5 films in the franchise, and I'm just going to leave it at that. People can probably maybe work it out from there. I'm going to leave it at that. But yeah, this was Mando season 3. I'm so glad we got a bit of a break on Wars for at least. I've been watching the original trilogy the last few days, trying to compile in it. I've been loving it. I watched The New Hope last night. I probably got Return of the Jedi tomorrow night, and it goes to show Star Wars is there. There is still Star Wars out there. That we've been Star Wars recently. Still got hope. I'm still holding out hope. There's maybe like a dying, but it's there somewhere. Thank you to everyone that tuned in, commented all through this entire thing, and whichever the next video is, I'll catch you guys on the flip. Take care, everyone. If I can end the broadcast. Mouse, come on.
You've got this like brilliant speech about hope
that
nobody can hear because you keep cutting out.
Just